Hi, Kitten. How are you today?
Hello, I'm good. I'm still alive after being murdered. So does that mean I'm like the world's first like vampire drag queen?
That would be kind of iconic, I
I
fear.
think it would. I do paint a little pale, so it works, right?
No, you're
Yeah.
gorgeous. I'm so excited to chat with you today, especially get your perspective on things. I feel like we were kind of robbed of the kitten experience. So
I know. It's so weird because I was after being in, you're in drag the first day and then you're like this big presence. And then I was like, it's so early in the game. I thought I'm just going to play it low key. And now I'm totally regretting I did that. Like that I kind of like just was kind of not trying to do it because I find that a lot of times drag queens,
mm,
they kind of get like this target on them right away, right on the show. And I wanted to kind of like just slide under the radar and then, kind of start bringing the stuff. But, unlike Drag Race, with Drag Race, it's like you want to show your best, the biggest and best right off, right out of the starting gate. With Traitors, you wanted to kind of like, I wanted to go a little slower and everything. But yeah, a little disappointed that I woke up murdered this morning. Jab you, traitors! Jab you! It's elder abuse, elder abuse, elder abuse, elder abuse, elder abuse.
well, last time audiences saw you, you had won Miss Congeniality on Drag Race Canada.
I know, I
What,
know.
what drew you to the Traitors?
I want okay, so I my partner Jim and I started watching Traitors when Fierce Delicious was on it. So she was season one, so one of our alumni. And I wanted to kind of support her, like I wanted to see and vote and have somebody to root for. And I loved the show. We fell in love with the show. It was so good. And because of that, I started watching like the American version, the UK version. I have to say the UK version is my favorite. Well, other than Canada, of course. But yeah. Second is UK. Oh my God, they're so good.
Mhm.
The Australian version, which had a little hiatus, but they're back again. And the New Zealand one. We fell in love with it. Besides Drag Race, I'd never really been into reality TV.
Mm.
I'm like one of those boomer slash Gen Xers. I'm like from the old school where, oh no, it's got to be scripted sitcoms or something, or sketch comedy. Damn it! But no, so yeah, I've kind of got hooked on it now, and absolutely love the Traitors. Uh, Second to Drag Race, of course. No, I don't know. It's hard, right? Totally different concepts, but yeah, it's so much fun, so much fun. So that's why I wanted to be on it. I thought, oh, I would totally do that. It'd be so much fun. And of course, that's sitting in your living room watching the show with no pressure on you, right?
Yeah.
When you're there, it's a little different, but it was a lot of fun.
Oh, I love that. Well, I feel like sometimes people might not see the social aspect of Drag Race. I do think there's an element of kind of like with the other queens and getting on their
Yeah.
wanting help and stuff like that. So I'm curious, did any of that prepare you for the social strategy game that is the Traders?
Well, it's funny because in Canada's Drag Race, they've started having more of an element with. Remember, they added the Golden Beaver, so
Hmm.
that added an element of strategy where you wanted to form alliances. You wanted to, because if somebody got that beaver, then they might keep you. They might save you, right? You had the opportunity to be saved if you were in the bottom, right? So you didn't have to lip sync for your life, and so we had a little bit of that, but not a lot, and that was new. So before that, it was always about you wanted to just pull the looks and perform as best as you can. Let your funny being come out during snatch game or those things. But in traders, the ones who had the most advantage were definitely like the big brother, the
Hmm.
survivors, though, and I got to know them. They definitely had an advantage. They were thinking full on strategy mode, and they had prepped for in strategy mode for those games. So
Hmm.
it was like, and with everything, I don't know if you do any like musical instruments or anything, any or sports or anything. Everything you practice, you get better at,
Right.
right? And when you have that opportunity to have that foundation and that practice, when you bring it to Traitors, yeah, me no, not so much. I'm like la la la. I'm just the butterflies and the birds. It's so nice being here in the mansion. Please don't kill me. Please
Well,
don't kill me.
you arrived in the show with obviously style, full glam, amazing. In the car, you're introducing yourself and having those conversations. Um, you say, particularly in your confessional, that drag helps you put on a persona. Was that
Mm.
your strategy going into the game? You wanted a persona? Did you want to be faithful or traitor? I'm curious what that
Well,
was.
so I wanted to, of course, be perceived as a faithful, even if I was a faithful, because that's the whole point, right? Like, you don't want anybody to think you're not. But did I want to be a faithful going in? No, I wanted to be a traitor. Of course, I wanted to be a traitor. And they're like, oh, how do you want to be a mean old nasty traitor? Well, okay, traitors are in control.
Yep.
They really are. And traitors, because they can see everything that's going on behind. All you have to worry about with being a traitor is getting banished. You don't have to worried about being murdered every night.
Mm.
So that, I mean, I'd love to be like that would have been fun, and of course I'd love to be on the show longer. I was starting to have so much fun, so it was very disappointing to leave after episode 3. So yeah, I would definitely have liked to have been a traitor. Yeah, and also I don't think they would have suspected me.
I I'm curious because you wanted to be a traitor when you got that touch on Corinne's on your shoulder.
Oh,
Can you please take me through that? Because that must be an experience. You
okay.
feel like finally it's my time. I'll be a
Yeah, it's very, very intense around the round table. It's anxiety
traitor.
provoking, trust. And when I got touched, I thought, I'm a traitor. What have I done? I said I wanted to be a traitor, and now she's giving me what I wanted. And I'm like, I'm thinking, be careful what you want. Be careful what you ask for. You might get it. And I felt like my stomach fall out, and the blood drain from my face. And I think they're gonna know. Will they know? They're gonna know. No, will they know? No, they're not gonna know. They're gonna know. And I had to start, and then these are all things that happen like this, right in your mind. And then I went to breathe.
Mm.
I can do this. You can do this. You can do this. So I just kept telling myself that over and over again. So I was like hyping myself up. You can do this. You can do this. Be calm. Play it, play it. And then the twist came where she's like, "Oh, you're not a traitor if you were touched." And I was like, "Oh, everything just kind of relaxed." And I felt like, that moment that do you ever do any stage work?
I
Well,
have.
for me, I'm always nervous when I go on stage, but I don't say nervous. What I do is I always get that, and
Yeah.
then I switch it over because it's really close to excitement, right? So I
Hmm.
put a smile on my face and I say, I'm not nervous, I'm excited. And I convince myself of this. And I go out there pretending I'm this confident, excited person. And that's what I kind of had to do with this too, right? Like I could do this. Yeah. Anyway, I was a little disappointed not being a trainer, but you get past it.
Hmm.
I'm gonna deal with this. I always feel like, oh, you only get what you can handle. Well, I don't know if that's always true, but I think it's a good way to look at it.
Okay, fair. So when you're
Yeah.
in that moment of relaxation, you still are in the midst of, okay, now there's a trader who's realizing they are the trader. So how quickly are you
Yes.
going from I'm relaxed because it's not me to, oh wait, I need to scan the room and figure out who.
Oh, immediately. So immediately, two to my left, Natalie, like when they did the twist, and they said, "Oh, if you weren't touched, she went, "Ah," like loud, like it was like, "What?" And I was like, "Natalie's a traitor." I was like, Natalie's a traitor. And Natalie's sweet. Natalie's like sweet, meek, humble, like a genuine, lovely person. And she's like is further from what you could think. Because I mean, it's a game though. Being a traitor doesn't mean you're, have any of those characteristics of a horrible person. You're still the same person. You have to play the game. But I thought, oh, she'd be perfect to be a traitor, right? Like, wow. And the other person I thought was like everybody was like, I guess somebody picked up on Curtis looking a little redder, which didn't play well for him later, like, the next day. But Meredith. So Meredith was like a little, and I thought, and I got to meet Meredith, and I got to know Meredith a little bit, and I really, really, really liked Meredith. Like, I was like, I thought Meredith is a traitor, and I'm gonna get Meredith to take me to the end. Like, I was like, because I really like Meredith. I was like, Meredith is my buddy. I love Meredith, and I was like, and this is what we thought at the time. She's married to a man, and blah 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 blah. But I didn't really like her, and da 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 da. So I thought this was going to be really cool. I'll be her gay buddy, right? Like, your big gay best friend. Like everybody needs a GBF, right?
Mm-hmm.
And well, it turns out she's part of the queer family too, and so I guess my queer dar was, because she's with Chala. They're
Yeah.
married. They're married, and of course, just so happens I put Chala's name down and lose my friendship with them. I'm just kidding. I didn't lose my friendship with Meredith. But I've seen them since. I've seen both since. They're lovely. Like I love them. But I was like, oh, wow. And it's funny because that after that round table where I put Chala's name down,
Mm-hmm.
and I was talking to them afterwards, and they said to me, so why would you put my name down? And I said, well, because, the first day I saw you, you were like, so like did standoffish and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then suddenly after the round table where everybody was chosen, you were just so friendly and engaging. And I thought it was just seemed like such an odd shift,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because we have very little to go. We have very little receipts at this point. There's not a lot to go on. So you're just grasping at anything, right? And they said to me, well, that you were in a big pink wig and in drag, and you were like 7 feet. I'm only 5'8", but I was in platforms, right? So which add like 8 inches or so, or 6 inches maybe. Anyways, I'm so I'm like 6 foot something and like heels, and and then suddenly you're this. So maybe that's why I was reacted differently to you. I'm like, that totally makes sense. I was buying it. And it was scary that night because I'm like, okay, so Chala, they're, what if Chala is the traitor, then I could be in trouble. Or
Mm-hmm.
maybe somebody else will say, oh, we'll murder Kitten and then blame it on Chala. Oh, Chala did it. Oh, I don't know. There's so many twists and turns that your mind takes and you think it could go in, right? Anyways, I think it's fabulous that Chala and Meredith are together. And they've been married forever. And they are the perfect couple, really.
Was there anyone else that stood out to you that first night and you thought, you know what,
Mm.
I really like you. Hopefully you're not a
Mm.
traitor, or if you are, that I could be your angel. Who stood out to you?
Shaughnessy, I thought Shaughnessy was adorable. So we were in that challenge where I had to shout, and she had to and she couldn't hear me. And it was like, oh my, did you notice the next day when I was talking, you could hardly understand?
Oh.
The voice was so hoarse from yelling. It was, you had to be there. Like, it was great because everybody's beside you yelling too. And some people have really big voices. It was crazy trying to get her that. But she did such a good job
Mhm.
of getting enough to be in the lead. Really, like she did a really good job. I forget how many she got. She got 5 or something of
Mhm.
those bags. She did a really good, considering she couldn't even hear me hardly, and and so I really liked her. And and of course then we both heard her name up on the thing so she could get the shield, because I just felt, because she got left on the dock the day before, right?
Yep.
She got left on the dock the day before. They put her on the dock, and I thought, I'm not going to do that to her again. She just worked her ass off getting those things. So she knew I was going to put her name on that, because she knew what I'm like, right? Like my character that way. So I'm like a, you know, I'm like a mama cat who protects her kittens. I joke about I'm a mama cat that might eat her kittens, but I would never do that. They're too small. I'm a pig. I need something bigger. The other person was Omar. Like, oh my
Oh,
God, he's such a nice guy. And he loves owls. Did you know this? He loves owls. He loves owls. And I think it's fabulous because I love owls too.
so we mentioned challenges. One of my favorite moments is the math team sitting there.
So so what we did is our plan. I mean, they can only show a certain amount of it because there's so much to show, right? But our plan was to divide it up, and
Mhm.
each of us was going to take part. So when I said, "Oh, I'll do the square root," and that was 14,400, so the square root was 120, right? Right. So, and that was easy because it was like you just take away the zeros, go 12 by 12. That's
Mhm.
144. Add your zeros back on. Boom. There you're done. And then when we were figuring out the rest of it, I said, okay, we decided that the people that were trying to figure out that calculation would calculate. And when they had to carry something, tell us the number you need to carry so we can remember it. And then when you need it, tell us. But you get lost, right? When it gets past 3 digits, I said this in my confessional, after 3 digits, it's hard to remember all the things that you're carrying. And you're like, oh my God. It was so difficult because it was like a 7 digit number.
Yeah.
Like, right? And then you had nothing to write on.
Hmm.
Okay, so to the next Traitors competitors, always bring a little piece of paper and a pencil on every challenge. Stick it in your pocket.
A good note to keep in mind.
Oh, they're going to start patting everybody down. You watch. Or even, okay, you don't even need a pencil, a paper, just a pen,
Yeah.
because then you can write on your hand or on the side of the boat or something, right? Like on the seat, just write on there. Like like that's all you needed, or even something to scratch with. Because let's face it, like if we would have been able to do it on a piece of paper, it would have been so easy. Kara said that she got her like engineer children or whatever, sons that are engineers or whatever, and they said they couldn't do it without piece of paper as well. They couldn't figure it out in their heads either, and they do calculations all the time. So it was like, oh yeah, I think you needed to be a Mensa member.
And unfortunately, there was none on on the
I
boat.
got my they took away my Mensa membership. Yeah.
Just in the nick of time.
Yeah. I guess I'll have to go back to drag. I guess you know what, I should have been kind, right? The drag queen kind that does the math.
Yeah.
We
Oh,
needed her. We needed her. I guess she should have been on there, not me.
perhaps next.
Kind, you should have been on this episode and you should have gotten the math question. I actually, it's funny because I actually didn't want to, like, I didn't go for the math thing right away. I went for the puzzle thing. And then somebody was like, I can't do math. And they were all upset. And I'm like, oh, okay, big deal, right? Like, you don't know what you're going to get, right? So I'm like, oh, you take the puzzle. I'll take the math. No biggie. I don't even remember who it was.
Oh,
But I'm like, oh. But afterwards, I was like, oh, why did I do that? I
well,
could have gotten a shield, damn it. No, let's face facts. If I had been on a boat that actually got the puzzle solved and then ended up at the dock to get the gold, they would have left me on the dock. And I probably would have been okay with it.
oh no. Well, alas, you end up being potentially on the murder list. How do you go about the rest of your evening knowing that you could be potentially murdered? Are you scanning for people who you think could be traitors and trying to suck up to them, or you just really focus on honing in certain relationships? How do you go about that?
Um, I think that you just, at that point, you just take the opportunity to chat with people. Because I didn't really have a lot of, like, I didn't have any alliances or anything at that point. It was still pretty early. I felt like Kevin might have protected me, but he didn't. Damn you, Kevin!
It's okay. I feel bad for
Kevin!
you.
Kevin, they should have left you at home during Christmas and not come back for you, damn it. But no, Kevin's quite sweet. I really like Kevin. And uh, I'm sure, somebody's got to go. So they can't, it's a game. It's a game.
Mhm.
So yeah, you're walking around and you're chatting with people and you're like, you just ask like, oh, do you suspect anybody? Those kind of questions. And the interesting thing about Traitors is if you're one of those people that like, I'm a little older. So when part of that is knowing that when you go to a cocktail party or a party, you don't just like stand off on against the wall or something. You go and you meet people, you talk to people. And you put yourself out there.
Mhm.
So the nice thing about Traitors is you have to do that. And it makes it actually easier because that everybody wants to talk to everybody. So unless they're in like an alliance or something and they're trying to have time on their own or something and they don't want to include you. But that I didn't experience. Like, I think that might happen later. I don't know, but it didn't happen yet. So it was great. It was like a lot of opportunities to get to know people and to approach people, and people were more liable to or open to chat with you
Mhm.
about, what's going on. So that was my only strategy at that point.
Mhm.
I think later on the game, other things would have come into play. And we will see with other people what happens too, right? So,
Well, I want to talk about your two votes at the round table. Your first
mm,
vote, you voted for Curtis, and as you've mentioned, you voted for Charla for the second one. I'm curious on the Curtis vote, what made you vote for Curtis? Was it because I know that there was talks about maybe a few people going and saying, "Would you vote for Curtis this way?" as a sign of like trying to create trust?
I think that early in the game, we didn't have enough receipts. So the first one out of the gate, you don't want to put yourself out there and do something. You want to follow you kind of have to,
Yeah.
right? You have to kind of follow. And obviously, that's what we saw the second night when they all voted for Asfir. But at that point, I was like, I just didn't feel like Asfir was a traitor.
Mhm.
Like, I just did not feel like he was a traitor. And I felt that I was feeling a little like part of me felt like, oh, don't bully Asfir. He's not a traitor. I got to protect him. And so that's why I voted for somebody else, Chala. And also part of me was like, there not enough votes are going to vote for Chala. So Chala will be fine. Because I wasn't sure of that either,
Mhm.
so anyway, yeah, it just, you kind of have to go with it at that point when you don't have enough data like to go with, right? Like
Mhm.
you don't have enough yet. So you just kind of go with the flow a little bit because you don't also want to stand out and give them something they can use as
Mhm.
an excuse to murder you or get you banished.
Okay. Well, how did
Yeah,
it feel seeing you being murdered like that conclave, that conversation that led to your death? How did that feel?
I don't know. It felt like, to me, when I watched it, I thought it didn't seem like they had a lot of good reasons to kill me, to murder me, right? Like I didn't feel like, I felt a little bit like it was just a throwaway murder. Like, we got to
Mhm.
murder somebody. Let's get rid of the drag queen a little bit. But, I mean, it could have been anybody, right? Like, I guess their logic is that nobody's going to think I'm a traitor. So they won't be able to get me banished. So eventually they'll have to murder me anyway. So Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, but they could have used me, damn it. They could have manipulated me. I'm very malleable.
Well, I have to ask, what is a lesson that you learned from this experience?
Um, I think the thing I learned from this experience is, and you know, I'm turning 60 this year, and part of like I don't want to hype on that, but part of the thing about getting a little bit older is you realize you have this time between now and the end of your life, right? So you want to take advantage of every moment and enjoy it. You really do. The things that are most important are your experiences, your relationships with people, um, knowing that you did something. Like I will look back for the rest of my life saying I was on Traitors Canada
Yeah.
and I was on Drag Race, and those are things that I always had a little bit of fear in me to do, or a lot of fear, really. And whenever I have that fear about doing something, about getting up on stage, about performing, and it's saying that fear is saying, no, don't do it. It's scary. You don't have to do that. I make myself do it.
Mm.
And so that was the same with Traitors. I'm like, oh, what am I doing? What am I doing? You're not good enough to do this. You know, the bad little horrible thing that
Hmm.
gets in your head. Just ignoring it and going for it and knowing and learning to trust yourself, learning to enjoy every moment and have the best time. And that's all I wanted from the show, really. Like I mean, obviously you want to win the money. Oh, that's great. You know, the money would be great. And I would have given a lot of it to charity because to me that would be free money. And you know, maybe my partner are older, so we planned for our retirement. So I would have been able to do that. That would have been great. Um, but ultimately, I just wanted to have the experience. It was amazing. I'd
Oh,
do it again in a heartbeat. And I'd love to be on like Canada versus or Drag Race UK versus or something. And I've told them that you can't bug them about it because they'll hate you. But yeah, I'm always listening for that phone to ring.
hmm.
Any moment,
Anytime.
anytime.
Well, thank you so much. My last question for you today is, are you rooting for the traitors or the faithful to win it all?
Oh, I'm rooting for the faithfuls. Yeah, I'm rooting for the faithfuls because the traitors murdered me. Damn it! And now I'm a vampire drag queen.
Who knows? Maybe you'll rise again.
Yeah, that's it. I do have 9 lives and only 2 are gone, so I still
Okay.
have 7 left.
And we will make use of them. Thank you so much
Yes.
for
All
your
right.
time. I appreciate you.
Thank you, doll.